Good morning. Welcome to Investigator News. I'm your host, Ellie, and lots of news this morning. Um, wow, I caught something yesterday that disappearing polls, um, and it was Politico polls, and others had Biden approval at 10% with a -6. Um, and it disappears all over the net within, I mean, I caught it. I went back 20 minutes later and it was gone. So approval rating of what? 4? I've been saying the negative. So now they're switching polls on when he will run or if he will run. Uh, they're doing all that now instead of the approval rating on him or his how he's doing politically on inflation and all that. Now it's whether he's going to run or not. A nice cover up, folks. Boy, I tell you, China Moon. Yeah, there's a China Moon happening. But before that, I want everyone, instead of on the news that they're running all this political shootings and this new guy that just got through shooting up the parade. And I know it's very important and for everybody to hear all the details, but what they're not saying is check your freezer, folks. Um, Ice cream brand linked to deadly outbreak. The CDC has asked consumers to dispose of any big Olaf creamery that they might have. It's a National Public Health Agency has found a link between an ongoing outbreak of listeria and consumption of Big Olaf Creamery ice cream products. And this is a food safety alert. According to the CDC bulletin, 22 have been hospitalized, 23 cases of illnesses, and one death because of this current outbreak. Cases related to the outbreak have identified 10 states. So listen up: Colorado, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Minnesota, New Jersey, and New York, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island. Consumers who have a Big Olaf Creamery brand ice cream in the home should throw it away. Any remaining product, or even if you haven't even opened it, throw it away. Citizens must be thoroughly clean any areas, containers, serving utensils that may have come in contact with it or touched any of these cream products. The CDC instructed business to stop selling Big Olaf ice cream products. If the consumer has seen any ice cream in their freezer sections, please notify maybe your cashier or the stock person or even the manager. Um, Clean any equipment in the area that have been contacted with the ice cream. It said in Sarasota, Florida, based ice cream manufacturer voluntary um, contacting retail location to recommend against selling their ice cream products until further notice. Listeria is a serious infection caused by consuming food that had been contaminated with Listeria um, bacterium. And according to the CDC fact sheet, the disease is about 1,600 individual contact this per year. About 260 die from the disease. It's most likely to cause illnesses and complications in pregnant women, newborns, adults over 65, or those with weaker immune systems. So get rid of that ice cream, folks. Definitely. Um, I had to basically put that one down. Mary Boy, I got something later that you might him and haw on this about. Um, I'm getting mad at the Democrats about the whole border thing, I think. Um, Shocking amount of Biden's emergency oil reserves ended up in China and Europe. Um, I don't, this kind of upsets me because what we're finding out, folks, is Biden's amount of emergency oil reserves are ending up in China and Europe. He's selling our oil reserves. And many Americans now asking the question, thanks to a report from Reuters on Tuesday, According to the report, millions of barrels of oil from the United States Strategic Petroleum Reserve were exported to Europe and Asia for the most part of June as U.S. continued to face economic crisis. The barrels were initially released by part of a historic effort to lower domestic fuel prices before making their way overseas. More than 5 million barrels of oil that were part of historic U.S. emergency oil reserves released and aimed at domestic fuel prices were exported to Europe and Asia last month. And according to the data sources, even going into this month, the U.S. gasoline and diesel prices touched record highs as they are going to continue to send it to the same places. Reuters identified various refineries have shipped reserves overseas. Phillips 66, the fourth largest oil refinery in the nation, shipped roughly 470,000 barrels of SPR oil to Italy. No wonder they were all happy at G7, huh? Um, Traced is a home to a pipeline that sends oil to refineries in Central Europe. Atlantic Trading Marketing, ATMI, of a French Total Energies also exported two cargoes of 560,000 barrels each. They're also exported to the Netherlands, India, China, and other European countries that have been in need and begging Biden to do something. So, yeah, so he's been giving it away. Or not giving it away, he's selling it to them. But what is he doing with the money? That's what I want to know. If he's going to sell our oil, what's he doing with the money? I hope it's not going into the pocket of his son. Yeah, I'm cranky about this. I'm cranky about the other stuff too, I found out. So they're basically Reuters let the cat out of the bag, and Reuters usually likes the Biden administration. Every time I go there, it's always for his administration, and I'm not very happy with it. So I usually don't pull too much from Reuters. But of course, I found this, and oh, yes, if he's going to start making other countries happy so they're not so upset, he needs to make us happy. Okay, I'm almost lost on here. The Highland Park shooter, and I know I don't want to get too far into this, as the parents were the problem. According to the former coach, the church that the kids went to said the parents were a big issue. They would drop the kids off at the church, expected the church to babysit them, would be late picking them up. The kids normally haven't been fed. Not only that, but a few weeks before the shooting, they were called to the house. It's a few weeks or a couple of months. I'm just going on memory, folks. And they had to remove all the knives and the weapons out of the house due to he was going to use them and kill his family. And now the big question is, how come this didn't come out on his checks? Well, that's on the police department. And we know that the police department, chief of police, the prosecutors, city attorneys, and all of them are lax on this. So if it's a knife, they could care less. They're not going to list it on no police report or send it to ATF for a federal check. They don't care about knives. And we should. This should be a part of at least the police reports enough that if a store owner can pull it and be able to look at it, they can make their own decision whether or not they want to sell to somebody that's trying to kill his family. A lot of issues with that family. He supposedly had clothes. He was going to dress up as a woman when he fled. He dropped the gun, one of the guns. That's how they discovered who he was. See how quick that was? A lot of people that didn't realize that. And of course, the mainstream media isn't going to announce this because they don't want you to see that they seen the gun, they grabbed the serial number, they ran it through, and they knew where he lived and who he was immediately. That's what background checks do. And this has been around for a very long time, folks. But when there's no serial number, then who's to blame? Well, I say Obama. He's the one, him and the Bush and Clintons are the ones that took the serial numbers off the guns. They're the only ones I know of anyway. So you have no more info, no China. Huh. Yeah, my birds are so opinionated. Um, oh, you have more info. I'm sorry. Yeah, we'll get together this afternoon, William. I got stuff I gotta get going over around the house. It's we got so much going on here with this the guys coming to fix the house. And then we have my granddaughter um, is invited us to her new place. She just got engaged, so she wants us to see her new place. So I'm busy, busy. So I'll get to you soon as I get off the phone with everybody else. All right, Justice. Um, um, Now this one, Mary, I might have to send this to you, Mary, on this one. Justice might finally prevail on this. Arrest made after 1,000 hog death waves rocks an Iowa county. I'm sorry. After a long string of unusual fires, explosion disasters at food production plants, ranches, and farms across the United States, it's good to see someone arrested and charged, and one of the mayhem, including the food chain. Um, they said that the Western Journal has now, they have been reporting on all of the fires, explosions, and animal deaths, and they are now wanting the Department of Justice to do something. Now, the story comes from Sac County, a small rural county in western Iowa, where an hour east of Sioux City, unusual number of dead hogs. When the authorities arrived Thursday, they found more than 1,000 hogs lying dead in two confinement sites. Um, Someone had turned off the electricity to the pens Wednesday that caused the massive die off. However, um, they found animals were in different states of decomposition. Some had been dead for more than 2 weeks. In further interviews, they said that the hogs had been dying for weeks, and she was afraid to tell anyone. Um, Officials said that the loss of animals were basically close to 200,000 or more. Um, Now so with they went ahead and charged her with 2 counts of first-degree criminal mischief and 2 counts of livestock neglect, and she's being held in the county jail Thursday. Now, the dead hogs in Iowa are only the latest of livestock in the last few months. At the end of May, 60,000 chickens were killed at a fire ranch in Arkansas. There was a shocking 10,000 or more fat cattle that died in Kansas last month. The incidents extend beyond livestock. A truckload of peanut butter and a plant went up in smoke in Illinois. Also witnessed farm fires across the United States causing disruption in food production. At least 5 major farms have been set ablaze. Destructive fire sweeps over farms in Ohio, Rhode Island, New York, Minnesota, and more. Global events as Russia invasion of Ukraine and being, they say, a major food provider, and results in sanctions against China, a major exporter of fertilizers, who also brought serious pressure, putting food chain in peril across the world. Even Biden has recognized it, but has now refused to do anything or look at a cause or what they can do to fix this issue. And that's according to the New York Times. Um, so they're keeping them. This is what I like about Western Journal. They're keeping an eye on all this. They're keeping an eye on all the farms that are set ablaze. They're keeping track of the manufacture and production plants that are catching fire and exploding. Now they're keeping an eye on these animals. And this might have been a farmer cause, but it doesn't amount for a lot of these farms where the electricity is shut off. They're um, where they keep the animals are being set on fire. Lots of this is going on, and it just seems very suspicious. Um, yeah, you can make your own homemade peanut butter. That's true, Mary. Um, and hello to Linda and Karen and Mary. Linda and Mary and Karen are our moderators. Linda, I'm still trying to make you one after last week, huh? Um, so um, they, Mary and Karen are our moderators, and we would love for you to come in our chat room. And if you got a comment or a question, be sure to put it in the comments below over on Facebook. If not, if you're in here, I should be able to see you. So justice may be finally. We caught one. We caught one. Let's get the rest of them. How about that lady we talked about this morning? That she was the CEO of a animal foundation, and she was keeping animals to save them, and ended up killing close to 50 of them. And that was with Growl Organization. What a name! And she's the CEO for it, and she hoarded a bunch of animals and then let them die. Oh, okay. So report. Um, they have found out that if you are living in, let me pull it up. Georgia. If you're in Georgia, boy, it's heating up. Georgia and Alabama seem to be the big ones. And you like Stacey Abrams. She serves on the board of a group that in efforts to defund the police, as she has wasted millions of your dollars on her own security. She has got one of the biggest security um, protection and beyond any president. Uh, she spends big on her security of her own. And supposedly, um, between December 21 and 22, she spent more than 450,000 of your tax-paying money for executive protection agencies, private security companies, all based out of Atlanta. The payments between 39,000 to 56,000, according to the report, as she is cutting and wants to defund the police. So there we go. She's just another one that, she's defunding the police and has her own security service. So, yeah, it just goes, they all do it. Nancy Pelosi does it. But now get this. You, as a political figure, you can't just go walking down the street. That don't happen anymore. You got to have security. What this means is overabundance. If she's spending that much money, she's got 20, 30, 40 um, um, police security team that's protecting her. And that's probably as much as the president has or more. So, yep, she's wasting their monies. She's definitely wasting their money. Monies. Oh boy, monies. Um, it's my sinuses are killing me today. All right. Now the Biden Department of Justice is suing Arizona over wanting proof of citizenship or an ID to be able to vote in November. And I can't say much more about that because it gets really into all those words I can't say. Um, and what it is they are trying to stop this. And this isn't the only one. Arizona isn't the only one. They're going after New York. They're going after Georgia, all the blue states. They're really going after, and a few other Republican states that are real close 50-50 for voters on political parties. Um, um, the Texas, and it's not just Texas, it's New Mexico, it's Arizona, it's all of the border states are now signing a declaration of invasion over the last few days. And they said it's getting really bad. Mexico is getting thousands of them storming their borders, and as well as we are getting quite a few coming through all at once. Um, so they are going to do this declaration of an invasion and get it to the Department of Justice, but also, uh, I doubt if it's going to help, sending it to Mayorkas. Um, and I think they have to do this first in order to, according to the article, they must file a declaration and a bill in order for it to start rolling the ball for them to block them for individual states. And Governor Abbott basically says he wants all the states to work together because if it's all of them along the border, all it does is push everything into California. They are not getting the backup and that they need in California for California to join the others on this. But they do want the border blocked. And in order for them to start moving it along to get this law passed, they got to go through the right policies and procedures before they can. Now this one might interest Susan and Karen. Now, Philadelphia's Democratic mayor wants out after overseeing record of settling crime surge. Now he brought it up that it's very hard to go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning to the crime wave. Now he said that people run from blocks away from the big cities. They're moving. And of course, with the gunfire on the 4th, the festives known from unknown and suspected suspects, they did, he said, gather up quite a few that were suspects that happened to have some sort of weapon on them. He says the Mayor Kinney says it's crazy. We're the most armed country in the world, and we're one of the least safest. And he claimed before, we're going to have to solve the problem. We can't let this go on. And so he made it sound like almost he was going to get out of being a mayor. He's not. He was just saying that once he gets out, it'll be a relief that he won't have to worry about all the people in Philly. He says, I'll be happy when I'm not here, when I'm not a mayor. And the media is going to jump on this and say, oh, he doesn't want to be mayor. No, if you listen to what he said and you really read the whole article, not part of it, you get the understanding that he is just fed up. He doesn't know what to do. He said it's the soft on crime by city attorneys, prosecutors, judges, the city council, just like what I've been saying. So he is fed up, but what can he do? What can you do when these political parties like your mayors and your judges and your DAs are all, or even attorney generals are all put in by vote. The mayor can't do nothing. except for it advised the public to do a recall or make them resign. Um, um, I'm sorry, it was Susan and Karen. I'm sorry if I said Linda. So, yeah, we're all fed up. And when are they going to get the guns off the streets? And I've said this before. All this crime that happened over 4th of July weekend, 50 crimes, horrible crimes, were more than 5 people were shot. And I believe the media is just playing up to it, folks, because the more crime with guns, this is what they're showing. Guns, crimes with guns. Oh, there was this shooting, that shooting, and over here and over there. Well, they've been doing this, some have, for the last 2 years, showing it is bad. Crime with guns is up 500% across our nation. And it's mostly Democrat cities, and it's mostly where they don't allow guns. There's a form of gun control, and not only that, but it's where the gangs are, and mostly the gangs have the guns. So, Sanctuary City's another one that's a dead giveaway. We have Democrats that just turn their back on it. We have Antifa and BLM showing up protesting with weapons now. And not just the brick and the Molotovs. No, they're showing up with actual weapons, guns, baseball bats, crowbars, fire shooters. Did you see the one where the guy went up and he had a flamethrower and tried to catch a cop on fire? Not only that, the assault on cops over the weekend was up 1,000%. They're going after cops too. And here they want to defund the police, as these cities are out of control. Good morning, Judith. Where's Ed this morning? All right. North Carolina is the biggest, abandoning Democrats and switching to GOP, as they went back and looked at voters and their registration, just like I've been saying. And I've been checking out. Well, now they're coming forward and they're saying that North Carolina is one of the biggest changeover from Democrat to Republican side. The good news for us, right? More Americans leaving California to move to Mexico. This is Spanish, Latinos, and those that came to the country from Mexico, leaving their families in Mexico and sending them money. They are now moving back to Mexico, and they're taking American friends with them, they say. Scientists claim that, well, here's a good one. Just what we need, China that can read our minds. Scientists in China claim to have developed mind-reading artificial intelligence. Researchers in China reported the claim that this month they have developed an artificial intelligence capable of reading the human mind through full information about the alleged breakthrough, and the remains elusive shortly after it was announced. Multimedia reported this week that since it deleted the video that was posted online, that the Hefe Comprehension National Science Center claimed to have produced software that can monitor both brain waves and facial recognition in order to determine if subjects are being sufficiently attentive to state propaganda. Oh boy. So I guess that's in the experimental phase. So no, you wouldn't move to Mexico. Neither would I. I heard that the water's horrible. But there it was at North Carolina, Hawaii, and Michigan have all had water issues with the water not being drinkable. North Carolina, I believe, has been one of the recent ones to where they're going to compensate people and their families for the bad water. And I can't remember the name of the town. It was one I didn't grab this morning. Have I done a report on Georgia Guidestones? Not yet. For Legends, Myths, and Monsters? Not yet. I haven't done that. I just got through with Stonehenge, but I haven't done the Georgia Guidestones yet. But yeah, something to think about for the upcoming shows. So, so I hope that answered your question. The Federalists are saying this could, with the CRT and then the trannies coming to the school near you, this could be a time to consider homeschooling your kids. There's agencies out there that are homeschooling agencies that will help you. But now this is coming from top educators in the country, that they're now seeing that this liberalism has gone rogue on the school system and now has people in place to where they will agree with anything that they're being told to do. So they are now saying maybe it's a sign to start homeschooling your kids. And look into it, look online and see what's in your area. And they strongly are suggesting this due to the teachers haven't left, the college professors haven't left. They're not being fired, so it's going to be the same teaching over and over and over again as we go into this new year. China, and now, William, this one interested me. I might send this one to you. Russia warships sail through the Japan zone near China in disputed waters and able to do so freely. So now they have found a route they can take to be able to transport goods. And they're not blocked by China, where they have sanctions on them going anywhere around out of Russia to be able to help the American people or even Ukraine's helping people. Now they found a way through China and Japan to be able to start moving a lot of this cargo and a lot of the food needed in the United States. If you didn't hear, guitar legend Carlos Santana collapsed on stage last night. He's fine now, but he did collapse, and it's big on the news this morning. A Colorado funeral home owner pleads guilty to selling parts without family's consent. Boy, there's some creepy people we're finding in the world today. Megan Hess ran the Sunset, and it's a woman, Homeland and Human Parts business called Donor Services from the same building. She admitted in court Tuesday to defrauding at least a dozen families who wish for their loved ones to be cremated. Court shows that her body dealer firm and harvested heads, spines, legs, arms, and sold them, most for surgical and educational purposes. But she is caught, and she will serve 12 to 15 years. Hess has been out on bond since her arrest, of course. But she founded the nonprofit organization called Sunset Mesa Funeral Foundation, and it was formed back in 2009. And it's a body broker service, and it goes through funeral homes to not only that, but they do transplants, they said also. So, oh boy. Now it's body farms. Does it get worse? Does it get worse than this? I keep saying that. Does it get worse than this? But, it's every time we turn around, it's like this body part thing, and then the animals from earlier, and um, then these school shootings with these guys that are so mental. How the heck did they get hold of a gun? You know, and I wish the media would report this to you guys. I wish more would tell the American people what's going on, so they got an idea of how horrible this is. And I know they're starting to change. I know that they're starting to awaken or woke, um, but it's not fast enough. If they knew about this stuff, this used to be on the news. This used to be on CBS News. The stuff I do, um, and maybe I'm copying from their old news stuff. But I think people need to know this stuff, and this is news, and to watch a whole half hour or an hour of our local news or mainstream media. They spend a half hour just on the shooters alone, and then they got time for a little bit of the weather, and then oh, that's it. Sorry guys, you don't get the rest of the news. What about the ice cream? What about stuff that we might want to hear about? Um, the hogs, um, and that was a meat producer. But you got to look at these people are running out of funding to run these places. And what do you do? So um, I'm starting to run out of patience with these people. I think. Um, uh, so New York. Now get this. Well, I think we already know this. The holiday weekend was almost double for assaults on people than it was last year, the year before. It is up. They say almost 2,000% since Trump left office. 2,000%. See, that's what it was in Venezuela before everything went down. Is basically what they're saying, that when they seen the crime rate surge to 1,000 to 2,000, and stuff disappearing off the shelves, the gas prices going up, is when Venezuela went down. Um, so, oh boy. All right, so the China moon thing. Well, over 70 countries have had space programs, or billionaires also going to space. But now Washington is accusing China of trying to overtake the moon. In an interview to a German newspaper, the NASA chief, Bill Nelson, has slammed the Chinese space program. He said, I'm quoting here. We must be very concerned that China is landing on the moon and saying it's ours. And you all need to stay out. Not just that, but also accuse China of stealing technologies from other nations. The NASA chief said that even Beijing was learning how to destroy satellites launched over other countries. Beijing has since slammed his comments, accusing him of trying to smear China, and that they would get back to the Biden administration on this. Um, so basically, the Chinese space program is growing big time. When we did Space Force, um, the Chinese space program decided it was going to amp up their program that they have, and maybe even go to the moon for a type of station. Um, and this was prohibited by Congress in 2011 from scientists from cooperating with Beijing, feared that Beijing could be spying on Chinese astronauts, or have spying Chinese astronauts, and that were also banned from visiting the International Space Station. Um, so they said that they decided it was time to have their own camp, and now that China have worked in close relations with top NASA officials in the past for schooling, they have now stolen a lot of our technology. So they are basically, in 2019, the Chinese rover landed on the far side and is now planning a mission to the moon's south pole for the final plan. However, we don't know what this plan is. They say it's for a total takeover of the moon. So, yeah, so now China is going to take the moon. I don't know how good that's gonna. I don't know. Yeah. William, what do you think? William, is China gonna take over the moon or not? Um, I mean, just telling people to go away and they're not allowed there no more. I don't think that's gonna be. Um, I don't think that's gonna cut it. And I think the only reason why they're doing this is, we talk about the flexing of the muscles. I really think this is a lot has to do with um, we kicked them out of the space station. So if they can't be on the space station, why not just take over the moon? So oh boy. So yeah. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on China and the moon. Um, I don't know how they're able to do it, but see, they're also fighting for total domination of the Arctic now. They want to buy up every part of the Arctic they can, and the rest of us just do without. So they're getting bold and bossy, bold and bossy and sassy of wanting to take over certain things at this point. So um, there was a cargo ship that was stranded off the coast of Sydney. Um, it was due to very extreme bad weather. And they said there was quite a few. This isn't the one that flipped, I don't believe. This is a new one because they were able to um, get aboard the vessel and in case it run aground and anchored the ship near the coast. And three tugboats have been deployed to try to stop it from crashing into the cliffs and the rocks. Um, and they're hoping to be able to get this cargo into Australia or a move on to safer waters, they say. Uh, oh boy. And Blinken and to meet with Wang Yi with about the war in Ukraine. Now, um, what it seems to me, um, they're not going to be shaking hands at all. They don't like Blinken anymore. But not only that, but they're looking at the G20 summit in Indonesia, and uh, Foreign Minister Wang comes basically. Um, Expecting new conversation between the U.S. Um, president and Chinese president coming within the next few weeks. But the whole thing is they don't want Blinken there no more. And not only that, but they are, Blinken wants to talk about China backing Russia for its war or possibly the near future of war. Um, not only that, but they're going to take Zelensky with them, and they don't even want to talk to Zelensky. Now, Biden last spoke with Xi Jinping on the telephone in March to discuss the Ukraine war, with U.S. condemning Beijing's support for Russia. But that now they've seen very little signs of anything changing. But what they have noticed is more support for Russia and helping them to move into new shipping lanes. And also, Chinese diplomats have met on the sidelines in conference in Singapore. And when they did invite the White House, they refused to confirm to anything except for this G summit that's coming up. Um, the UK has basically been a strong um, critique with the Kremlin, and they have been making efforts to isolate the country with heavy sanctions now. So this is something else that Blinken wanted to discuss, is how that China is now having allies that could be turning against them. To me, that just sounds like he's going over to threaten them, but I don't know. But they don't even want to talk to him. And do you know this is something new because Blinken has been able to go over there and sit down with one-on-one. And now they're saying, wait a minute now, we don't even want to talk to Blinken no more. Now, what about Lloyd? General Lloyd, am I right, William? Is that his name? I'm so bad with names. Um, Now, even he has went over, and they're even putting the stops up for him. I think China's done talking at this point, and this concerns me. Um, if we, yeah, but that'll go well. Now William says, yeah, that'll go well. Might be something. Boy, me and William might have to talk about China and Blinken tonight. Um, when they go over there, they're very rude. Um, we're talking when you go to even Japan, you, there's a respect for these that they. I don't say they demand it. It's just an automatic because of their culture is big respect. You show us respect, we show you respect. Um, and I mean, they even had Obama climbing off the back of the planes. They wouldn't even put out a red carpet for Obama. They did not. They did not want to um, give him the respect because he never gave them the respect. They said, and then here comes Trump, and they roll out the red carpet. Well, they're very standoffish with Biden. Now they don't want Blinken over there, and I don't think they want Lloyd over there. And so, what's going on over there that we need to be concerned about is it's getting closer and closer to where they'll put sanctions on China, and then they'll drop other sanctions, or they'll say, they're putting out, China needs to side with us or else, like they did at G7, and then turn around and drop some of the tariffs that they had. It's like, okay, we're going to badmouth you, and then we're going to go behind everybody's back, and we're going to give you stuff. Then we find out they're giving them oil, our oil reserves. So in the open, they're saying one thing, and behind our backs, they're doing another. And I think China doesn't go for that. Yeah, I think they want the respect to say, if you're going to do things for us, say you're doing things for us. Don't be sneaky. So, um, so um, the G20 over there, the Indonesia one, is going to be interesting. I really do think it's going to be very interesting on who goes and who and what they decide of what's going on in China as we getting closer and closer to um, Taiwan either having to act or react. Because nobody knows. Is it going to be China? Is it going to be Taiwan? Are they going to go after China like they did Russia and say, China's going to strike, China's going to strike, China's going to strike until they do? China don't even need one or two. They'll just say, okay, and they'll do it. They're very big and bold. And I think we're getting closer. I think we're getting very close. Is there going to be a war? I don't know. I don't know, folks. We can't. Every war is different. And me and William went over this on last Wednesday. That every war is different, and you can't expect this war to be like World War II, or won't be like when we had Pearl Harbor. It won't be like in Nam. All these wars are going to be played out a lot different, and this is. It may sound like it's Ukraine, but don't compare it to Ukraine because Taiwan um, is a lot different. It's way different, and we have a lot more at stake with the Taiwan Strait than we did with Ukraine and their wheat. And we've been taking over Ukraine for since 2011, folks. Um, we have been buying up the biolabs and um, the resources over there since 2011. I think it's Obama. I think his name was Ross, that came out and said they were doing so. They were going to totally take over Ukraine. Then they would have a country that butt up against Russia to be able to invade on their own. Unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. I'll have to do a show on what Ross had to say because you guys would really understand this on how it made a lot of sense for the United States to have a country like Ukraine in its midst. to not only be right there with um, Germany and Poland and some of the Russian, once Russian owned uh, countries, but also being right next to Russia. So, um, oh, okay, let's see here. Um, so the China tariffs, um, um, Mitch McConnell, basically, um, I don't know, Mitch McConnell, is he just flip flopping back and forth so much like a fish that we just have to let him go? Um, because he is kind of like okay with these tariff imports from China. We could Biden could decide on these tariffs, and if he does, everybody's saying absolutely not. His belief is if you remove tariffs, the prices will come down on the goods, and it's based on fundamentally flawed assumption on how prices adjust. Sellers did not drop prices when costs go down. Sellers drop their prices when the demand goes down. This is unrelated. And when these tariffs were in place in 2018 against China, 80% of the cost was subsidizing factories. So if you remove the tariffs, you're helping the Chinese central government with these tariffs. And I told you yesterday, Yellen was all for this. Now, Chinese central government with these tariffs, they have encouraged companies to move back to the U.S. as soon as Biden said we won't. Uh, we will remove the tariffs manufacturers stopped and their plans offshore. And if you got a chip shortage or anything else, um, these tariffs is only going to put the manufacturing back in the hands of China once again. This is what we don't want. We were told the chips would be here. We were told the solar panels would be here and the wind generator. Well, all of a sudden, the chips ended up over there in between Japan, Taiwan. I think this is why they want Taiwan so bad, and China. But then you've got the solar panels. Well, it was too expensive due to all the policies and rules for the states that it was more feasible to shut down. Now China's got all of that. Same with the wind generators. So it's simple enough to understand that we don't want them to have all the business, and then we drop these tariffs to where they get all the business, and it's just going to crush our economy. Um, and even try to get these businesses to start back up. That's why I've been saying it's going to take almost 2 terms for the next president, if they're a Republican or conservative, to be able to fix what they've done. There's so many, they've spread themselves out so far that it's just going to be one step at a time, folks, just one step at a time. Um, and so who knows what's going to happen? We can, we could depend on their protesters over there to maybe do something, but I don't think that will work. It's going to be basically a very strong president getting in office and putting a lot of sanctions and a lot of tariffs back out there. And because if we don't sanction China, and if we don't throw these tariffs on them, on the businesses that they took, or how about secrets they took and now they're doing well and we're not. If we don't build this country back up from boy, William, you'd probably know more on this, like in World War II and the Depression. Well, how to get out of the Depression was we had to get the manufacturing jobs. We had to get people back into the producing. And that's what we need right now is production in your manufacturing to get the goods here. So we're not having them shipped from overseas over here and waiting on a cargo ship that may not come. So And we want our country, and we want it back to the way it was. And this is 90 over 90% of the country said that, with their blamed the Biden administration for the inflation. They're blaming them for the gas. They're blaming them for this country being so bad. And their wish is just to go back to the way it was when Trump was in office. And that's 90% of the country. I think 10% is maybe the politicians, their friends and family, and people that kind of like them. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of jobs go into robots. What choice do these, um, a lot of these places have? I mean, we're doing self-serve at Walmart because they can't afford the cashiers. They just can't. Um, There are other jobs, yeah. But get this, there has been a loss of close to 100,000 high tech jobs that are going to be taken out due to the economy and the cuts. And this wasn't no policy change. This was just the jobs. The market just isn't sustainable enough for these high tech jobs to be put into place. Now I know Amazon is hiring a lot of high techs, but that's not enough. Amazon isn't going to be enough. We need everybody to work together, and so we can make our country better. Um, and then the lawlessness, folks. Um, we got to blame it where it belongs. We got to quit blaming, or they do it. They blame. Um, Harris went to, I guess, Chicago and was on some show, and she was giggling about it, and it was just really disgusting. Their own Democrat voters, that she was just, um, they just feel she's paid off, or she's a puppet, or she just doesn't know what she's talking about. She's dumb. Um, and she's been paid off. And the voters are wanting to know, is Harris paying for the release of these thugs and criminals? Are they really? Did she really do that? Now, this is one of the questions coming up. Well, if we pull under Freedom of Information Act, we should have this release, and we can find out who was let go, who was never charged, and what the charges actually were. And and she shows up in a city where a bunch of people have been shot over the weekend. And if you move on to New York, or other places, there's just um, dozens of people that were shot. This was as deadly could be, and it was all in Democrat-run cities, and it's getting worse. And if you look at the stats to see how our laws on the books are not being enforced, that's a major issue. See, this is the ticket, folks, because the laws are on the books. Did you now let that sink in a little bit? If these laws are on the books, why aren't they enforcing them? Now you realize, if we could get enough people in the right places, we could charge these people for this. Individuals who kill someone on an average had 12 prior arrests. Well, that's against the law, and it's still on the books. I had to go through and kind of look at some of these, what was on the books in Chicago or New York or Sacramento, where I'm from, and take a good look to see, are the laws changed? What did they change them to make that? The only thing they changed was smash and grab, okay? And I've told many of people that call me on this, that they put it at, you can't be charged with certain crimes if they don't go over the cost of $1,200, or sometimes it's 1,500. Well, anything under the law under that, okay, folks, we are looking at maybe a pedophile, because the charge would be around $1,000, $1,200, right? Well, then of course he's going to get overlooked. There's these petty, what they call petty crimes. Um, How about being assaulted, jumped, mugged? How about home invasion if they don't take $1,000 worth of your stuff? These are all crimes that's going to be overlooked because of the law itself. So that's what I had to look at. Was I went and I looked at all the laws to see what have they changed. Well, they haven't changed nothing. So all of these laws are in place, which is good for us. This is good for a lot of our cities that are looking at when they get into place that we can put the laws into effect and sweep out these criminals off our streets. It can be done, except except we got these dodo brains in charge that aren't going to let it happen. That's why I said it has to start with our states. Um, and if you look at New York alone since 2020, folks, none of the laws have really been changed. They just put people in charge that are saying they're not going to charge this person, or they're going to lower the standards to, or put this 12 or $1,500 rule in there. They added, they just never subtracted, and that's a good thing. I think that because they were dumb. These are dummies on crime. I gotta say that they would put one in place to just sit in front of the other one, so they'll use it and say, "Oh, well, we could have used the one behind it, and they would have went to prison for 5 years." And that's what's going on. And then, of course, Camilla Harris. How many criminals were burning our buildings down that have been committed of arson for forever, have a whole list. We don't know. And see, if it was, and that person never should have gotten out. They could have been charged with a higher arson charge for doing multiples, not just one. See, we don't know that because she went ahead and bailed them out. So people talk about these new laws, but we need to enforce the laws we have. We need the judges and the prosecutors to hold them accountable, like in terms of Camilla Harris going to Chicago and her supporting freedom, a freedom fund that allowed an individual in September to be released on the streets. And he ended up shooting and killing someone. Uh, so these politicians keep doing this. They keep going in and they'll throw this new law in to get the votes, get the votes. It's a political lawlessness is what they're labeling this as, to where in political power, if you go and you wipe away what needs to, that should be in place, they are promoting it to get the votes of their liberal voters instead of losing them because they're not doing nothing. Like tearing down the statues. Well, those statues, if you put a value on them, they weren't much. They were worth a couple $100. Well, of course. So they could tear them down and tear them up. They could spray paint them. They could drag them down the street behind their cars. That's okay. See, that's what I'm talking about. But if you look at it as a historical value, which they didn't, then that would be worth more money and they would have been charged for it. It depends on what your DA and what your prosecuting attorney wants to use for the laws. There's many, many laws out there. And even if you commit a crime or you have a family member, you have you have the DA or prosecuting attorney and you got your defense attorney. Well, if your defense attorney doesn't go dig up these little loopholes, that's what we call them, then you're going to go to prison for a very long time, and the DA make sure you do. But that's what the defense attorney's for. Same way in this whole thing with what they're doing with these laws. That's why I said, if we get in office, we could turn around and use these laws to go after them. But who's going to do it? I don't think Senator Graham's going to do it. He's a lost cause. We need to get these go-getters to say, you know what, we're going to go in there and we're going to take you down. We're going to take down like what we're seeing with uh, uh, Gaston or Newsom, um, of them just overlooking the crime and the crime still continuing. It's because they're got the right people in them, and Soros have put the right people in the most powerful spots to where we're unable to even charge anybody or go after anybody as the um, as the person on the street, where a political party could go after these guys and have them removed. Now, petitions, yes, but petitions are hard to get. They're very hard. They're not hard to get. They're hard to get the petitioners for, because then it goes before the same people that we don't like, and they're going to cross out half of them and say they're not legitimate. You're going to go get more. That's why California is getting way more than what they are needed. So when they cross those out, they still got them. They still got enough to put back in place. Um, so, oh boy. So we have a vice president that's completely incompetent, or she's supporting, or is she supporting these crimes? The president did task her with border security, and it's only gotten worse. Why is she for terrorists in our country? We see human trafficking, child trafficking. Is she supporting child trafficking? Mary, open your mind up right now. You want to listen to this. Fentanyl. Trafficking becoming a leading cause for 18 to 45 to 60-year-olds, and Americans are dying. We know Harris does drugs. Does she do fentanyl? Do we know? Huh? Huh? During the Clinton era, they did cocaine and they were bringing it in, made sure it made it in. Who in Washington wants the fentanyl? Who's doing it? Or are they all doing it? We don't know. To give the vice president another particular task when it comes to crime and law and order, she's been soft on crime. A prosecutor that she put in is just letting people walk. And she's urged Americans to fund these organizations that continually bail out jail, and despite of their criminal histories. I think it's wrong approach for the Democrat Party to say they want to do away with the guns and do away with crime, but at the same time, behind our backs are making our borders lawlessness, our cities lawlessness. It's absolutely outrageous. And it's been tasked from the beginning. And then they laugh at us when we complain about it. This world order snuck in. And okay, let's just laugh about it. And evidence shows that our vice president could be pushing crime in our country, as Guatemala stated this week. Democrats for crime now, are they the mob, the mafia? Are they terrorists running our country? It just kind of seems like it. And that's what Guatemala was portraying to us. As they laugh, as hundreds are dying in third world countries, will the world seek atrocities when the truth comes out against these countries that we could be starving to death? As Democrats buy up land in countries with rich resources like oil, gas, gold, diamonds, cobalt, lithium, that use child laborers, lots of them. And it seems like they're opening more and more every day as we speak. Child trafficking, huh? Could it be taken as child trafficking to the labor camps? Do we know? Not yet, but it sounds about right for this administration that gathers up children at our border. Why? What's the reasoning for this? They're whisked off in buses to where? They won't tell us. These kids just disappear. To where? Kids are not showing up in cities around the country. I've checked. Have basically YouTube or fact checkers, if you guys check where these kids are going, we don't know. I've called 23 child state homes, facilities, and they were full 2 years ago. And I keep calling them saying, where's these kids? Nobody knows. So where are the kids? They got to be somewhere. Thousands of kids and women Where's the women? We don't know. They're disappearing too. Same scenario, just vanish. Men are going into the gangs and becoming thugs. We all know that, and they end up with guns, just giving them um, to the gang by the gangs. As shootings are up 500 to 1,000%. Um, the problem is where's the kids? Are they using? Are they whisking them off to these mines for them to for child labor? We don't know. Are they child trafficking them? And the women, very little women come over with these children. Were did all their mothers what disappear on the route, or were there never mothers or females? The problem is um, is they will dispose of them. Didn't we hear, I'm going to say about 6 months ago, we found mass grave of kids. We don't know where they're from, but they found a mass grave full of kids in Africa, close to one of them cobalt mines. Where'd they come from? Who are they? We don't know. Um, so the only question, or who are they going to prop up for president now? Um, Camilla Harris, no. And it can't be Nancy. It's not Hillary. And you know what I say it is? It's Gavin Newsom. I think it is. He's starting to go after people. He has got Abrams on his side. But I don't think it's Abrams. I really do think Gavin Newsom is going to be their Pied Piper. Um, and it does make a lot of sense with Nancy Pelosi not being able to make it. Why not it be one of her kin for the next president? I really believe this is who they have chosen because he's all of a sudden up and coming. He's going up against DeSantis. He wants to go up against Trump. And he hasn't really made that final foot in the arena saying he's going to do this, but it's leaning that way. Um, and he, all we have to do is look at the state of California, folks. That's all it's going to take, and he's mincemeat. The state of California and Gascon. How come he hasn't done nothing about him? How come he has not taken this man out for the atrocities this man has done? And not closing the border when we're looking at 90% of the country now wants to do away with the illegals coming into our country. We don't have the money to pay for them. If we had zillions of dollars to be able to pay for the illegals, we might go for the kids or those needing asylum, not just everybody in a free-for-all. As we are looking at this administration, I see thugs, I see mob, I see mafia lettering all over the top of them. And I hate to say that because, I know there's bad presidents, but this has trickled down to the very smallest person that's working at the CDC answering phones. It's deep, folks. And it's not just the top officials, it goes all the way down. And when you have that many people that corrupt for this long, you got to take a look and see what this Liberal Party has done. Like I said, I have said that the Democrat Party has been hijacked. I don't think this is the moderate Democrats our folks grew up with, or my folks. I surely didn't. I didn't because I thought they were kind of sort of okay. They had weird ideas, but I didn't hate them. And this is, as we go closer and closer to 2024, we have a lot of changes. We have a lot of work to do, folks, because you know what? These guys got to go. They got to go. And I'm not going to threaten them like Maxine Waters and say, go get them. You know what? Let's get them the proper way. And that's what they hate about the conservatives and us is they say we don't act. Well, they want a civil war. We don't. They can have their own civil war between each other, but you know what? We're going to go and we're going to get them. We're going to get them where it politically hurts them. And that's the only way to change things. And I've been saying forever since I started this show, what was done to Arkansas is being done to our country. Now it's going to the rest of the world. It's time that we all band together and we stop them. You know, uh, take them down at the knees if you got to. But we got to do something by 2024, or it's only going to be worse. It's going to be something our kids should never have to live through. So, all right, folks, that's it. We have a show with me and William tonight, our military report, and sounds like he's got a lot of good stuff. Um, so I might let him have a way at it for a while, and I just shut up and listen. No, that ain't gonna happen. I'll jump in there. Um, so we're working on some really good stuff for the show tonight, and it's our military show. And I know Linda and Linda really do like these shows. They are learning a lot from what we go over. So subscribe and hit your like button and your bell. Smash that bell. Over in Facebook, we're so very glad to have you join us. And not only that, a lot of new people on YouTube. Um, the labor in the Clinton mines, um, they try to stay on the up and up, Linda, before I close out, only because they are so scrutinized on. And they do more like biolabs and resources like gold mines, like Haiti. Haiti, they didn't help the people, but they sure took over the gold mine and put um, Hillary's brother in charge of it. They do more of that. They don't do the smaller crimes like they used to, Linda. They've moved on to the big ones. Money, the big money laundering and what the Biden administration, the Biden family do. They're more along that line. It's all for resources. Buy gas super cheap, and then open it up and get it flowing. And then when the stocks go up, then they make a lot of money off of it. That's what the Clintons do. They haven't done child labor in a very, very long time. Um, Not that I've seen. And they never were, they were more about teenagers, not children, for child trafficking. When they were doing the 13, 14, 15-year olds that were going to Epstein Island, when we had Epstein here. But not only that, but Hillary Clinton's supported big time Weinstein in Hollywood. That was something that Stan Lee threw a fit over. So I don't think they do the crimes with the kids like some of these others do. This is just, I think this is the big league for these kids, and they're doing something with them. Where are these kids? I can't find them, and I know Mary's probably looked for a few of them, and we're just not finding these kids. So, all right. So, anyway, we will see all of you tonight, and I'm glad you glad. Thank you big time for watching the show today, and hope you learned a lot of new things. And come on back and watch tonight. And um, we do love our viewers, and we're very proud that you guys watch. Um, so with that, we will have a wonderful Wednesday, and God bless. And come on back tonight for tonight's show. And we're looking forward to it. Um, Me and William will be here with our like what are they called? Those old shoe caps, I guess, for the reporters that had shoe on the top. I don't know what it was, but anyway, we're gonna have our good investigator hats on, and we're gonna tear up the military report tonight. So have a great day, folks, and we'll see you tonight. Bye bye.